Hi, it's Joanne. Today we're watching Young Royal Season 3, Episode 1, and I'm so happy this show is back for a final season. I just hope it ends happily. These reactions will be coming out once a week, unedited on Patreon, starting on Tuesday, the day after it first airs on YouTube, on Netflix. On YouTube, you will get them following straight on, I mean, you're seeing this on YouTube, so I don't know why I'm saying this now, straight on after Season 2. So yes, nothing to change there. Still be one a week because it just, for my editing and everything, it just works for me that way. Otherwise I get way too burnt out way too quickly. I am so ready for this show. I am stressed because obviously I want the final season to just be August goes to prison, faces actual consequences, Simon and Wilhelm get to actually be happy together. That's what I want this season to be, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot more dramatic than that. So yes, let's go. I also have not watched any of the trailers or released clips that they've done because I just wanted to go in fresh. It's all very official now. This will be Simon's first, I mean, I don't know if this is his literal first, but it's the beginning of him actually experiencing this side of Wilhelm's life and the control and what it's like. Jesus Christ, woman, be a mother. And the father, comforting her. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. You deserve parents, not them. I was waiting for him to look straight into my soul. But like, his parents, the dad didn't speak to Wilhelm, comforted her. She just didn't even acknowledge him. Are they really upset with him for what he did? Because yeah, I get being upset with him because he didn't do the royal like PR move that they wanted him to do, but he's still your child. Be a parent first and foremost. That should be the priority. Should be, oh, I'm just, you know who you are and I'm happy for you and I'm proud of you, and you know, being worried that your son's gonna get his heart broken in his first real romance. That should be where you're at first and foremost, and a secondary thing should be, oh, this could affect PR, but who the fuck cares? Things are going to be very different for him. Like a real realization of what it's like being on the other side of all the pressure and stuff that Wilhelm gets. And I am sorry for him, and I will adopt him. This bitch isn't coming, is he? What happened to Sarah's report? I need to get her name right as well, I'm an idiot. Yes. It's not gonna be a normal life, but it could be a beautiful one. I mean, the two of them would make it a beautiful one. There would just be a lot of other mess around them that they would not be the cause of. How Wilhelm is as sweet as he is, having grown up in this, with parents that are dicks, is a miracle. What is this, like a meeting to discuss everything? I thought it was like a dinner initially, like a nice, everyone getting to know each other, but this is like a council meeting. Jesus Christ. Oh fuck, it's that. Oh, it's legal consequences. Oh fuck. Oh, I really hoped it was at the very least like a family get-together thing, not this. So right now, so it's not even, I thought that she was acting all like, oh, this is so hard for me, because she was being forced to like publicly accept Simon as the boyfriend and everything, doing some kind of like, they could get a picture of the two families sitting down together. That's what I thought this was, because I'm dumb. But no, it's even to do with the release of a sex tape of her child, and she can't even be there to say, are you okay? You know, someone you love like a brother, or after you lost your brother, like someone you trusted has done this to you. Are you okay, son? But no, she's, I was thinking, oh my god, I know nothing about the real Swedish royal family, but I do feel like this is very accurate for how the British royal family would act. And all royal families are pointless these days.
Som kysser en av samma kön, att vara gay är inte något som är ägnat att utsätta någon för missaktning.
They were doing stuff in the video that... Of course. The reality of the situation, the media presentation that will be on top of them all, and these boys should not have had to come out like they did to the world. I'm sorry. What must it be like for them? Because there will have been rushes of support. There would have been so many people supporting them. There would have been so many people being thrilled to see someone in the public eye in an institution that has never had anyone that could outright be gay coming out and being gay. It would have been made so many people so happy, and there would have been such a rush of support from all around the world. But there would have been so many of the little far right bigots, and it just breaks my heart that these boys have to deal with that. I just wanted to live in a world where we could pretend that that wasn't real, but that isn't the real world. You are a shitty person.
Jag brukar tänka så här, ibland kan det bara vara skönt att acceptera att man är en liten pissmänniska ibland.
So the thing you should do, okay, August, and yes, I do see you as a shitty person. You're asking him, he's saying no. I'm saying yes, is if he had realized, oh my god, that is terrible. Why did I do that? That is, and made that the worst thing you ever do in your life. At 18, it's relatively young. If he had then made it his mission to never do anything bad again and to become a better person and to try and make things right, like, okay, especially when he didn't think, like, to try and just be a better person going forward, you could at least give him the credit of, okay, he was young, I'm not gonna ever like him, but he can make something out of this. He can get past this and he can do better. But he literally didn't. The minute he thought he wasn't going to have any repercussions for what happened to him, he began to treat them like shit all over again. Because he is a shit. Yes. Yes, I mean, your choices certainly are. No, because you released a sex tape of a child. 2 children, but one of the children was the royal child.
Och då står du och försöker gräva upp all möjlig skit.
De är som en klan. Maffiametoder.
It is.
Jag vill bara att det här ska ta slut.
Though I honestly, like, at this point, Will has said that he'll have to sell his dad's mansion to pay us. Well, fucking good. At least the royal family, I know obviously it would be a bit awkward given that the royal family are one of the people's getting the compensation, but it wouldn't have put it past me that they didn't, like, secretly funnel the money to August so he could secretly funnel the money back, you know, like, it wouldn't, like, the Queen paid for Prince Andrew's settlements, good old Queen Elizabeth, who everyone, what a wonderful woman, she paid for her son to get away with raping a child. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me if the royal family had somehow financed the compensation because they didn't want any of this. They're only doing this because Wilhelm came out publicly, and then August got accused. So, like, I'm glad he's at least facing some fucking consequences. But honestly, like, at the end of the day, I don't feel confident that Simon would get justice in a court of law, or Wilhelm, but obviously Wilhelm's family would be part of the fucking problem, which breaks my heart into thousands of pieces. I genuinely do think that if this were to go to the court of law and everything, August would probably get away with it because of the wealth of his family, and they would get nothing. And at this point for me, it's not even the fact that they're getting the money, it's that August has to sell Daddy's estate. That is hilarious to me because its own choice is fucking up his life. And like, I do feel bad for him with his dad killing himself. I'm not making fun of that. I'm making fun of the concept of season 1 August being like, I just don't have any money. Oh no, I couldn't possibly sell my large estate and, you know, live a comfortable life for the rest of my life because I have no money. It really is. Other than prison. He shouldn't be allowed to attend Hilaska either. Some of this pressure is stuff that Wilhelm has been under his entire life. One of the many reasons monarchy should be abolished. No child should be under this much pressure. They still good? Okay, they're still good. That's good. I'm sorry, babies. They're just in love. That's what he said in his bedroom. They just deserve for everyone to leave them alone and let them live. And they deserve to be smiling and happy together forever. Better? they just deserve all the laughing and giggles and togetherness, and it just makes me happy for them, and I'm so sad about everything else that they're going through. One of the things should be that he can't attend Hillesca anymore if there's still term time left in his senior year.
August här tänka sig att inte anmäla Simon
Shitty.
att ha sålt sin pappas medicin till elever på Hillesca. Det hotade August till livet med ett gevär.
I think you'll find there are no witnesses to that.
Alltså, du lurade Simon på pengar. Jag vill minnas att du tog drogerna dessutom. Gjorde du också?
Yes, because he was grieving his brother.
August,
Titta på mig! Om du tror att jag kommer låta dig ta över så kan du glömma det.
Du behöver inte låta mig ta över.
Nej.
Nej.
Varför inte då?
Med ditt track record så kommer du nog lyckas fucka upp.
You're a shitty person.
Jag som fuckar upp.
Problem började långt innan mig.
Är det sant?
Det vet du.
Jaha.
Alltså,
You are a
det är
shitty
jag som förtjänar att slå
person.
folk på käft.
Your kid made stupid mistakes. They do that. I'm sorry. Not you. Like, I do understand. Oh, she's thinking if only my precious boy was still alive. The only one I actually care about. I do understand that the Queen has been through a similar childhood of expectations and ridiculous overpressure and everything, but she is choosing to continue and enable that. She is choosing to continue the cycle and not protect her children from it. And I have to imagine that that is part of what led to Eric's erratic behavior, including getting really drunk and driving really fast because he thinks he's impossibly powerful and the king of the world and nothing can stop him. Because I don't think it was suicide. I think it was just him being reckless. So, like, it's all part of it, you know? Wilhelm beating people up. I mean, it was someone that was trying to take a picture of him or something. I can't remember. I think it was like taking a picture of him or mocking him or something. Is all part of the cycle of bad mental health from how they're raised and the fact that they don't have parents that love them or care about them, because we have seen that. So while I feel sympathy for the Queen, she has long since crossed the line and become someone that is doing things that she's enabling it and making choices that could be different.
Vi kan inte ha såna här skandaler mer. Speciellt inte mellan er.
Maybe your son's life is more important than your reputation and the scandals.
Tror du att sagt om man hade sett er
Eric would have punched August in the face. How dare you? She constantly weaponizes Eric's death against Wilhelm when she wants him to do what she needs him to do. From the phone call when he first confronted her or tried to tell her that it was August. August did this horrible thing to me. And she went, yeah, kid, I know, but fuck it, who cares? Like, that conversation, she immediately was like, Eric, like, every time she wants Wilhelm to snap into line, she weaponizes her son's death. And it drives me fucking insane.
Erik hade aldrig förlåtit honom.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Du fyller snart 17 år och inom ett år
Only fucking
så
16.
ska du kunna ta över.
Maybe you could end the monarchy because could you potentially look at this and realize it's not healthy for anyone involved? They end up dead, troubled, child pornographers. These are the options for the sons of the monarchy. Maybe we could realize that there's a problem here and end the monarchy. Sweden would be alright without one. You'd still have your history of your monarchy. You'd still have the palaces for tourists to visit. It would still be okay.
Det här är ingen lek.
No, it's Wilhelm's life.
Jag lovar, Ers Majestät.
I'm gonna
Både
suck
jag
up.
och Wilhelm kommer att
Suck
sköta
up,
oss.
suck up, suck up.
Om inte-
Ja, om du håller dig borta från mig så gör jag detsamma.
Mm-hmm. She is not well. This is not good. I am very sorry for her. I cannot imagine the pain of losing a child. But she has done nothing but neglect her other child ever since. And make him suicidal. Like, there have been points where I've been concerned Wilhelm was going to self-harm over things the Queen was putting him through. Does the whole school know it was him? Because I really, really hope so.
But honestly, I'm really worried about her.
Maybe you should be back in with her.
Liksom sluta whina nu.
Yes.
Jo men alltså förlåt men jag bara det hade varit lite en annan grej.
A friend betrayed
Breaking
her.
up with a friend can be worse than getting dumped. Nej.
I mean, she needs help. Talk to the counsellor maybe would help.
Simon typ.
Just treat them like your friends, like normal.
Alltså, på riktigt.
He's worrying about his mum because he loves her even though she's been nothing but cold to him throughout the entire show.
situationen på rätt sätt så kan den hjälpa oss att modernisera bilden
Let him be a kid in
som en
love.
naturlig del av nation av royalister.
No, it wouldn't work for me.
Det är därför vi måste fokusera
Like,
på
I
ditt
might
arbete.
like a specific royal, though I don't
Vi
like
kommer
any of our
starta
current
en
English royals.
välgörenhetsstiftelse i ditt namn på din 17-årsdag. Och det här kommer att bli ditt allra första officiella uppdrag.
Can he
som
choose what the
kronprins.
charity is for?
Gio och jag, vi har en potentiell risk i det här. Att Simon inte förstår att allt han gör från och med nu faller tillbaka på dig.
Neither of these boys should have to be understanding about this.
Har du inte kontroll?
I'm worried.
Orolig för det.
The pressures of all of this. Because with everything they've been going through, they haven't actually dealt with the reality of pressures on the relationship once it's in the public eye. Not that it should have to be.
Kronprinsskolan.
Yep.
Kissa i den här.
Va?
Jag vill bara vara säker.
Tror att jag knarkar? Jag rörde inte de där tabletterna själv.
Let her check, okay? You were a shit person.
Resten av terminen. Vienes
That was
directo de
bad.
la
He
escuela.
wasn't a shitty person. I don't think I actually meant to call him a shit person. I think I was just used to calling August a shit person. You made a freaking stupid mistake. A shitty mistake.
A la casa.
This isn't the most unreasonable.
Det här är jätteorättvist.
You sold drugs, kid.
Jag vet att jag har
You've
gjort ett
stolen
misstag, men
sold
det var för att hjälpa
drugs.
Sara.
Jag har nog med en hemmasittare.
Oh, she's not even going to school anymore.
Visar dig att jag var på din sida.
Men du borde ha pratat med mig innan.
She was trying to help.
Men du vägrade.
Dra!
Gonna take time, Zara. If you truly are sorry, which I think she is, if you want to make things right, slow and steady.
Ville hans tal att göra.
Don't you fucking dare, Snake. Honestly, I know they'd probably reject it, but Simon and his family could do with some security too. Only eyes for one person amongst all the gossiping. Can they just be open, even though everyone will stare? Oh. Good for you, my loves. Good for you. They deserve to just be happy.
Bra.
Talk to each other about the tricky stuff. Not necessarily right now.
Alla stirrar så mycket.
Slippa smyga, eller hur?
Ja,
It will stop being gossip worthy eventually.
istället. Eller så får jag bara
Please be safe. There are some very nefarious reporters around, my loves. They shouldn't have to worry about that, but they need to. You definitely have an eating disorder.
Bästisar, alltså det är jävla fuck.
He is a shitty person. You can still go to school, though I suppose it would be hard when her friends she doesn't have friends anymore.
fin va?
Mm. Jättefint.
Att mamma hade halshuggit mig om jag tatuerade in
Mm.
det. Varför det?
Men jag får inte tatuera in någonting, Simon.
Varför? Klippa håret kortare än så här. Passar sig inte. Den är
This-
jättefin, men det går inte. Jag är ledsen.
Hallå!
Hej.
I am just... They're finally talking. And by that I mean he's finally saying, oh, I can't do that, I'm not allowed to do this. Like, Simon's finally going to get a grasp of just how restrictive the reality of being the crown prince is.
Sen kronprinsen kom ut. Vi har hört en del rykten om homofobi. Ditt ex, Marcus...
He is a child! Fuck
Han sa i
away!
alla fall att det verkade vara ganska problematiskt. Mellan
I knew Marcus would talk to the press. I fucking knew he'd talk to the press. But he also might have lied. They could also just be lying to try and get to you. Marcus may have said nothing.
Simon,
Because you were on social media together, they can put two and two together without actually having said anything. I kind of feel like Simon needs like a lift to and from school to keep him safe.
Så sent som slut når ex-pojkvännen säger han att relationen mellan kronprinsen och Simon Eriksson verkar...
Ni var väl inte ens tillsammans?
Nej.
Alltså ska vi gå och säga någonting?
Jesus Christ, of course Marcus would do that little snake.
Marcus säger, utan det värsta är en typisk latino-lover som hoppar mellan pojkvänner eller att jag
Jesus
är en
Christ.
golddigger som förvirrar prinsen.
Vänner. Han är väl lite impulsiv.
Jag menar, jag tror att
Thing
det är
is,
bättre att jag bara har koll själv.
I
och
think
svarar på
with-
kommentarer och har kontroll.
Don't, my love, ignore the comments, sweetheart. Ignore them. They won't stop, the haters. I think Wilhelm did it so impulsively because it was when he had the courage to do it, because with his oppressive family, he wasn't going to be able to do it easily. Like, he almost...
Till Talludden då?
Jag kommer fan inte dyka upp alltså.
Va?
Don't reply to them. They're ignorant bitches. You don't deserve your time. He's just living in a bubble where everything's lovely and he's hiding away from all the negative feelings, and that does worry me a little bit because that bubble can get burst. Doesn't mean the love will go anywhere. Jesus Christ. Did he comment that or message him? I love you, okay? It's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be a road, but it's gonna be okay, and it shouldn't have to be a road.
Erik träffar folk liksom. Men det var ingenting han gick ut med offentligt. Men det är väl det som är hela grejen, att hålla det privata privat.
August took that choice away from him.
Istället kanske att hålla sig till någon som tillhör kretsen.
Nej, inte för mig.
Okej, förlåt.
Sorry.
The problem here is that August took away his chance to keep his private life private until such a time as he wanted to come out. It would be bad enough if a paparazzi snapped a picture of them kissing on the school grounds or something. That would be a bad enough invasion of privacy, but it was somebody close to him, somebody in his family that did this to him, that made it so that he had to, at not even 17 yet, at 16, stand there and say, yes, I am gay and I'm dating him. He did not want this to be in the public eye. It was not a choice he made. I know, I'm going to go and put it in the public eye because that's going to make me feel good. August made it so that it was a point of principle that he could either deny it was him and feel like shit, or he could own it and live up to it. It's August's fucking fault. I am worried about Sarah. She's made a lot of very silly choices, but... Is she going to see their dad?
Kom in.
You just need to give it time and actually put the actions behind your words of sorry.
Jag kan bara inte vara hemma just nu.
Okej, vad...
Jag vill inte prata om det.
Have you told your mum you're here?
Det här betyder inte att det är bra mellan oss eller något sånt. Det är dags att komma över henne nu. Och steget där.
It's not how it works.
Vad är det som händer här?
You know, we'll start by cleaning your room. Yeah. Get all the bad energy.
They
out.
have good intentions.
Set some protection spells.
They really do have good
Then
intentions
we
here,
will
but
do some soul
it's not how it
cleansing,
works.
Set some intentions. We're going to New York straight after school finishes. Alltså vi ska
Oh, to be young and rich. It's a nice idea to cheer her up. He is still in his love bubble and he deserves to stay there. They're just children.
Student med 23-årselever stormade in i rummet.
This is what happens at the school? Yeah.
En lokal som kallades Palatset. Hon pekades ut under hånskratt.
The school does do vile things, at least a bit like this.
Gamla förlegade traditioner. Han inspirerade mig att våga prata om det som hände där.
I mean, I have been saying, like, I absolutely despise the initiation scene from the first episode. It makes me cringe to watch it, to the point of, like, I want to watch this show with people, but I'm like, I don't know that I can sit in the same room. It's just so vile that people, like, I hate that kind of thing so much that it puts me off wanting to share the show with other people, because I'm like, I don't think I can sit next to them. I'll be like, oh, just need to go to the loo until they're at the party, because I just hate it so much. It's that kind of degrading people as part of an initiation. We all do it. I hate it. So I actually, if this was August or not, is it he's trying to, like, indirectly say Wilhelm caused this, because August does this. These boys perpetuate this. They do this to each other, and it was done to them, and then they keep doing it. August did this. Wilhelm's still a young person. I don't think anyone else has joined the school since he's been here, so he has never actively done this. It's just been done to him. So if anything, August, this makes you look bad. They're trying to say it was Wilhelm that August did it, so I hope it bounces back on him. He had a little...
Har det hänt dig?
Ja.
Nej, inte filmen.
Men vadå det andra då?
Yes, and it's wrong and it's vile.
Ni kan sätta er.
Who's this? The principal been fired? The kind one?
Hamilton och jag är
Yeah.
Annette Lillgelser som
I mean, she seemed like a good person, but this was happening on her
Det har
watch.
alltså gjorts. Det är dags att ta i med hårdhandskarna.
I don't think this is actually the worst idea. Okay, that's a little extreme.
Poängjakten är här. Så kommer mobiltelefoner omhändertas. Men ni får använda dem 1 timme om dagen. Det kommer att råda ett utegångsförbud.
I do.
Klockan 19.
It's kind of funny to me that they've gone from zero looking out for these kids, making sure they're not doing anything crazy, to like, this is now a prison. It's kind of funny.
Vänta, va?
I mean, it's too extreme.
Alkohol, eller nikotin för den delen, så kommer det leda till omedelbar avstängning.
I mean, it's mostly unreasonable. I think nowadays keeping kids completely away from their phones apart from 1 hour a day is too much. But
Är en trygg miljö, så kan vi få ett verksamhetsförbud.
it's not been a safe place.
Ska kan tvingas stänga med omedelbar verkan.
Did August do this? Or did Wilhelm genuinely inspire a former student to be like, hey, that school is really shit and does bad stuff to your mental health? Because I have been saying this since season 1. I obviously think it has its good points in some ways, but I have been saying this school is not good for mental health and it's full of entitled rich kids since season 1. I hated the initiation scene. I didn't like Sarah's initiation scene either, but at least it was Sarah. I need to find you sorry. I know that I'm trying to make such a point of saying Simon, not Simon, and I've been calling her Sarah the whole time, and I think her name's actually Sarah, so I'm really sorry about that. And I know I don't pronounce Wilhelm's names right, but my stupid English brain cannot pronounce these names right, and I'm very sorry for it. But I've been saying, I think her initiation wasn't good. I didn't like it, but it was less like humiliate and more just kind of like being daft and like being a little bit like OTT and the like, you're gonna drink her out, but there was more kindness to it than Wilhelm's one was very extreme, very like, and I've always hated things like that. Whenever I watch like any kind of thing that has that kind of hazing, it is so disgusting. So in general, again, maybe the stuff with the film did happen in the past, if so, even worse, like terrible and wrong. But I didn't like it. So I don't think it's unreasonable that maybe someone did think, actually, that school sucks and I'm going to talk about it. And maybe it was, but I feel like mentioning the gay film, is that almost like trying to be like, oh, he's only gay because of that? Or I don't know, like linking it to that instead of like making it so that him coming out was an inspirational thing. Now it's like, oh yeah, it's linked to this traumatic stuff. I don't know. Now I did see when they were talking about, oh, this journalist, they wants to know if there's anything about Wilhelm and initiations. Was that because the journalist already had this story about the initiations, or did August do something? Because August did look a little bit sly. He did look a little bit like, I'm just gonna like, like, wanted to embarrass Wilhelm. Like he did get that kind of I'm a snake look on his face that concerned me. So it would be kind of funny if August was behind this and it ultimately ended up ruining his last year at Hilaska. That would be kind of funny. But obviously, again, it's so hard because as an adult, I'm looking at this and I'm like, for the most part, I don't think these restrictions are, I mean, having some kind of restrictions I do think is necessary because these kids run rampant. They frequently throw like raging parties with alcohol and drugs on the grounds. It doesn't surprise me that that you would want more protections. I'm surprised there aren't more overdoses and things at this school given how reckless these kids are. And it often reeks of that kind of entitled rich kid stuff that I hate, and I have mentioned hating, and it's why I would never send my child to that school, but however good a school it was, because of the other kids they'd be around. For all of the ones that have turned out to be actually quite sweet and decent, like Wilhelm, they're the Augusts. But I don't think having a curfew is the worst idea. 7 p.m. every day when they're teenagers is a bit much. Like I feel like maybe with that I would say for the first couple of months while we really figure out if these claims are true or not, we need to crack down, and so we're gonna make it 7 p.m. but this will be eased, like, because they're young. I mean, again, I don't think it's the worst idea. Like it could be like 7 p.m. and then like 10 p.m. on weekends or something. Like it's not the worst idea, and I don't think cracking down immediately is terrible, and this makes me feel like so old saying it. I think in 2024, 2023, 2022, well, I mean, obviously it's 2024 this has come out, I can't remember, like this technically would be set a couple of years ago because not that much time has passed. Telling the kids that they can't have their phones at all is a bit much, like 1 hour a day. They're teenagers. Like, again, I am kind of, I mean, when I was at school, we didn't have smartphones and stuff, like, oh, they were just about coming in, I think. But maybe I'm aging myself too much, but, like, I feel like, you know, they really took off when I was at uni. So obviously it's a whole different world now. Kids have access to everything on their phones. But I feel like maybe it should be during school hours. When you arrive, you put your phone in a box and you get it back after school hours. You know, something like that. Because it's just a bit much nowadays. And especially I'm sure that they've all got like laptops and stuff. Or maybe they don't because they use, I don't know. But it's a bit much. But I also think, given the state the school was in, it's not the worst idea. And I'm probably really aging myself by saying this. Though also, I was not a kid that went out and got drunk. So, like, I would be there, like, only my phone is the problem here. No, 7 p.m. is a bit much, considering that they're, what, like, 15 to 18. I feel sorry for the principal, but at the same time, I am like, she did kind of just let them host rages regularly on the grounds. And in a way, there is an argument to be had that the kids are going to want to do this. They're going to want to break the rules somehow. So if they're doing it on the school grounds, at least if help is needed, they don't have to go far. You know, it's kind of like that principle of like, with kids, like, if you're out and you need to get home and you're drunk, call me. I wouldn't be in, like, I think there's obviously an argument for a certain amount of leeway, but I mean, I've been like enjoying myself because of the show, but like, these parties have been out. My big fear here is that people are going to blame Wilhelm because the article was like, oh, he inspired me. He didn't say, oh, I want to tell everyone to like talk about how many parties we throw at school. He was like, if anyone blames him for this, I will be so mad at them because it's so fucking short-sighted. And I don't think anyone like higher up an official can blame him for it because he is one of the younger members of the school who has been there probably. Again, I can't remember whether whether or not a new school year has started, so they're now second years, because that might have happened. But like, he hasn't taken part in any of this. Oh, he's been to the parties, but not the initiation-y stuff. And I'm mad at myself for talking about this for so long because a lot of other stuff happened. Now, the beginning, I stupidly thought it was like a get-together between the families where they'd snap a picture or two to try and be like, oh, the Queen is so on board with this relationship. We're so modern in the monarchy. That's kind of what I thought the vibe was. And obviously the vibe was not that at all. But it is ridiculous that August is getting away with no prison time, or no... not even prison time necessarily, but nothing, I'm presuming, on his like official record or anything, like essentially scot-free. But Simon is right. August having to sell the estate is justice in so many ways, because that is August. All August cares about. You know, August was crying about having no money and being bankrupt and being broke when he had a literal estate that was his. So, you know, there's some justice in that. The size of these estates, it is ridiculous that anyone has a house like that. But that is some degree of justice, and like, people will eventually find out he has sold it. Now, I imagine he will sell it as, oh, you know, it's the modern era, it's far out in the country, I don't need to go and live there. Anyone who knows him will know how much the estate meant to him. I'm sure he'll like sell it, swing it in some kind of, he's a good talker. But it just makes me really angry that his response to all of this is to still hate Wilhelm and be angry at him, instead of just being like, I really fucked him over. This kid who was looking up to me because I told him to, and I told him that he could, and then I fucked him over because I was having a temper tantrum. And like, if August was just apologetic and trying to stay out of Wilhelm's way, I would be like, okay, maybe it was just the worst mistake you're ever going to make in your life, and you did it at 18 when your brain isn't fully developed. Okay, but he isn't. He's so like, oh, why is Wilhelm over it yet? Why is Wilhelm so mad? He's being mean to me. I don't like it. I hate that kid. I do think he is genuinely heartbreaking about Sarah, but like, what the fuck did he expect was going to happen there after what he did? She was just stupid. So that kind of really, like, I wish the school knew about August, and I wish they were all like, child pornographer, iced out. Iced out, what that was. You know, I wish they were kind of being hesitant with him. It would be hilarious if it got out that he leaked to the press about this, or he convinced someone to talk to the press about this, because then everyone would be like, oh, August has a problem and he goes running to the press. Poor little baby August. But again, this like genuinely could be something that actually happened. A lot of the initiation stuff we know actually happened because it happened to Wilhelm. It is just whether or not the rest of it did. And if I could believe it with these kind of kids, especially in the past, like maybe some of the like stuff with like watching the gay porno and, oh, isn't that out there, and oh, you got an erection, oh, maybe that stuff did happen and it has been phased out since, because what the fuck? the whole thing is what the fuck. Like just throwing a party and being a little bit like, you know, putting the bag over his head and then taking him to a party would be like kind of, I don't, it's not a nice thing to put someone through, but at least you could have a little bit of a like, oh, we spooked you and now we're having a good time, like that level of initiation. But what they do is weird. Okay. So then I'm trying to save the boys till last because I love them and they make me happy, and I'm still scared for them, but they make me happy. I do feel sorry for the headmistress, like I said, because she actually seemed to care about her students. She was like the only person that actually gave Wilhelm a hug after his brother died, considering he has 2 living parents. Like, she does seem to care about them, but at the same time, the stuff that gets done at this school with her in charge, I get why she's not being allowed to stay. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And if anyone tries to take this out on Wilhelm, I will take them on myself, okay? He is my son and I have adopted him. Legally, like biologically speaking, no, I could have been 14 when I had him. I could have been 13. I mean, it's technically biologically possible that I could be his mother. Like, unrealistic, but I could have been 13, 14 when I had him. He could be my son. But, you know, I'll adopt him and be a big sister motherly role. It's fine. I've done it. I've signed the papers. I don't think Simon needs a mother, but, you know, I will be his mother-in-law who loves him very much and is also there to support him. You know, this will be our family, and I've signed the papers. It is done. It's long done. But okay, where was I? What was I even talking about? Okay, I am concerned about Sarah because obviously she kind of, for a while there, was on a high. She was living the life she dreamt of. She had brilliant friends that she dreamt of and a genuine friendship with Felice, because I do think even on Sarah's part, it was genuine. And she was falling in love and having sex for the first time and everything was great. And now she is at the bottom. Her family, like her mum is angry with her. Her brother won't speak to her. She's lost her best friend. She's lost her boyfriend. But the boyfriend one, I don't feel as bad for, because what the fuck was she doing with him anyway when she knew what he did to her brother? And she knew he was Felice's ex. But I don't even care about that as much as knowing what he did to Simone. But the rest of it, I do feel sorry for her, especially because we know in the past she has been bullied and things like that. With Sarah, I really didn't like her last season, and it was the choices she was making, and the fact that there were moments where you could see she knew she was making selfish, bad choices, and she did it anyway. This season is her chance to continue to right things, but unfortunately, when you do things that hurt people, you can't just say you're sorry and then they forgive you. It doesn't work that way. You have to say you're sorry, respect them when they want space, respect their boundaries, and put more actions behind the word. Just impulsively reporting August isn't going to completely fix everything, but continuing to be there for Simon, you know, checking in on him, making sure he's okay. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to talk to you right now, so don't do that from afar, but it's going to take a while because what you did was really, really shitty. And that is a horrible feeling to sit with, knowing you have hurt someone. But she just needs to go through it slowly. Going to stay with her dad, I mean, we know their dad wasn't great. From what they've said, he was an addict. He seems to be sober now. I don't know if he is, though. And, like, they've alluded that he was very, very unpleasant to be around. And like we know that he's been at least a little bit violent with Simone once. Like, he obviously isn't great. So the fact that she feels like she so can't be in her own home, she's gone there when she was so adamantly against her father in the previous seasons, and how dare Simone do it. I'm really intrigued. I want to find out from her whether she's kind of like, I'm a bad person, therefore I deserve to be living with the bad parent because I am bad, or whether it's like I just don't like it there because they're really mean to me and they don't understand me, and so I'm going to like, whether she's kind of going to stay with her dad because she feels sorry for herself, or going to stay with her dad because she hates herself. Both would be very human emotions, but one would, I'd have a lot more pity for her than the other. Again, I don't hate Sarah. I think she has a road to travel this season, and it's not a long season, so she's got like 5 episodes left to do it in. But I worry about her mental health right now, in the same way that there is that part of me that worries about August's mental health, less so than it was at the beginning of the last season when he's continued shitty actions. But August definitely has an eating disorder, and I kind of would like to see him get some kind of treatment for it by the end of the show. Like, treatment in prison would have been fine with me, but like, you know, I'm sure Swedish prisons are nice. He'd have been alright. so I'm worried about Sarah. And Felice, I do think her friends mean well. The blonde one was a little bit like, I just get over it already. I didn't like that. But in general, I do think it can be hard to watch someone you care about being sad and miserable. And to an extent, you do have to kind of choose to start living again, choose to start getting over that person. But it isn't as easy as just snap, I'm going to choose. But I do think they were trying to cheer her up and make her happy. I also do potentially think she could ultimately forgive Sarah down the road because of how complicated things were, but the thing that would make me upset more than the fact that she slept with my ex would be the fact that she slept with the guy that she knew had leaked a sex tape of her brother. Like, that is even worse than the Felice thing, because Felice was never serious with August. Like, if Felice and August had been in love, that would be a bit, I mean, it would still be below the Simon thing, but like, she didn't really care about August that much. But it wasn't nice to see her suffer. Then we have our boys, and I think something that I have been saying throughout the previous two seasons, especially in the first season when they were first getting together, and with all of Wilhelm's trouble with coming out and like admitting it was him in the video, is I never really felt like Simon had considered the reality of being in the royal family and what it means beyond having a nice house and having everything you want given to you. The kind of the isolation of it, the fact that everybody knows everything about you. I mean, like, I hate our royal family. Like, we should not have a royal family in Britain. It should be abolished. The majority of them are terrible people. But, like, I do feel sorry for the children. I'm sure they're going to grow up into horrible people, the same as the rest of their family is, but right now they are children. I feel terrible for them. And if any of the Where is Kate Middleton stuff has got back to their children, I feel really awful for them for that. They are innocent children in this situation. I'm sure they're being raised to be as warped and awful as their family. You know, once upon a time people felt the same way about William when he, with his mother dying and everything, like, poor boy, now he cheats on his wife and she has lost so much weight during their marriage. Like, these are all facts, by the way. Like, so in that sense that, like, there is a danger that Wilhelm could grow up to become horrible, although he is bucking the trend and I'm so fucking proud of my boy. But with the boys, Simon never really stopped to consider, and again, I don't ever say this with any dislike or malice because he's a 15-year-old boy throughout the course of this show. I presume they've both been 16 the whole time, but like, he's a 16-year-old. Of course he's not going to stop and think things through beyond kind of like things that are immediately apparent in front of him. And it's the fact that for Wilhelm's entire life, every big move he makes has been in the papers. His birth was announced, I imagine, like kind of him getting expelled from a school or having a problem here. It makes the paper, and it shouldn't. I don't care about what the royal children are up to. They deserve privacy in life, but there are people that do. And there are people that do because they love the royal family, and then there are people that do because they hate them, or just because they're just in the public eye, and no child should have to be. But this relationship, the minute it became public, was always going to be like this. It was always going to be the center of a media fury. I feel like I've only ever read that word. My brain, furore. That was always going to happen, and it shouldn't happen. There was always going to be the pressure from the palace on how to act and how to look and how to dress and what to say here and what to say there and what you should do. Their lives were never going to be, what job do you fancy? Oh, I think I'm going to take this as a job. Oh, I think I'm going to do that. Should we go and live here for a bit? Should we go there? I mean, again, like, most people don't have super luxury with that, but they were never going to be able to have complete freedom of what they wanted to do. It was always going to be different. Now, the hope is that as some time passes and this becomes more normal, some of that attention will die down, but it will never completely go away. They will never completely be out of the public eye. Even if they abolished the monarchy, they would never completely lose that public interest in them. But what I kind of would like at some point is for one moment where Simon is like, wait, Wilhelm, have you been dealing with this kind of pressure your whole life? Fuck. Because he has. And yes, when he was younger, his brother would have been that little bit more in the centre of the attention. His brother would have been the one getting it all. Although here in the UK, again, my reference here is the UK. From what I've heard, the Swedish monarchy does sound better than the British monarchy, though I still don't understand the need for a monarchy in the world. Like, there were various incidents that I can remember as a kid where Prince Harry was photographed at these parties doing like in a Nazi costume. I remember one, but also like drinking and doing all these things. But the reality is, William was also at those parties. I don't know if it was at that specific one, but there were incidents like this where Harry was in the papers as the party prince. Kind of, I do feel some of like the stuff they've done here is mirroring the British monarchy in the show. and it was kind of, oh, isn't Harry terrible and disgraceful? Oh, the royal family must be so ashamed. But William was also at those parties, but because he was the heir to the throne, it was all hushed up. Now, I don't think that was, maybe that would have been the case if if Eric had lived longer, but that just strikes me as interesting. Sorry, off topic, monarchy's abolished, we know me. But he did have a bit of a buff in that he had an older brother who would be the one that everyone was focusing on. But even so, he has always dealt with this. And so I would really like a moment where Simone would kind of look at him and go, wow, like, I'm so sorry you've had to live like this. Like, oh my god, things make a bit more sense. It doesn't necessarily excuse Wilhelm initially denying him it was him in the video and all those kind of things, but that moment of understanding of, I get that now. I get that this has been really hard for you and I'm so sorry you've had to deal with this on your own. But obviously at the same time, Simone has now been thrust from being an ordinary person to being at the centre of all of this. And of course Marcus gave a fucking statement, like the bitter little guy he is. He forced Simon into that relationship in the first place. Simon was like, hey, I actually still like my ex and I don't really want to be with you. And Marcus was like, hey, that's cool, we'll take it slow. Wanna go on a date right now? That's fine. And so it makes me so sad to think that these boys can't just get to know each other, fall in love, figure out what they want to do, have daft moments, have an argument over something inconsequential and make up without it being the centre of attention everywhere, at their school, beyond, like, I don't know, at a heteronormative school. Oh, that's a gay couple. Like, beyond even that, like, it just breaks my heart that these boys have to deal with all of this. And the idea that, like, far-right homophobes did a march in their town breaks my heart, and that Simon's family are being harassed. It just... given the situation, I think the palace needs to like give them some protection, and like even like, oh, I hate this term, but like media training or whatever, like training on what to do in this situation that they shouldn't be in the first place. So I am very worried for my boys, but seeing them just being together and laughing and just taking such pleasure in each other's presence and company and companionship makes me so happy. And the fact that when they found out about the initiations, Simone's immediate thought was, wait, did this happen to you? Did you go through this? This is awful. Did it happen to you? Just, I love them so much. And I just really want this show to end with them happy. There is a part of me that genuinely wonders, especially given that they are 16, that worries that as a fan that the show will not end with them together because they are very young and there are a lot of pressures. And I don't think it would be like a, I hate you, we're breaking up. I think it would be a, this is just all too hard, we're so young, I can't deal with this. I would like it to be that they are still together and they're going to face the future together. That's how I hope it ends, but I'm scared. But no matter what, I want it to end with them both mentally okay. And there are only 5 episodes left, and I don't know how the hell they're going to get there. So I love my boys. I'm very proud of them. There was some more communication here about like, oh yeah, I can't get a tattoo, I'm not allowed. Oh no, my hair can't be longer than this, it's not proper. Like, it just, I think they're starting to actually, because they are openly together, they can talk and they're not constantly thinking, is someone going to catch us? They can actually get to know each other. Now, I say that with a huge asterisk because I don't know with the new school rules if they'll ever see each other ever again. But they can kind of talk more. Oh, one thing I did want to say, and I wanted to finish with the boys, is I'm going to finish with the Queen. Obviously in this season they are showing her being a lot more frail, like it's all taking a toll on her, but like it doesn't make me feel sympathetic. Like, I'm not like, ha, good, you deserve it. Like, I'm not enjoying seeing her not doing well, but I feel zero sympathy for this woman that is being so cold and horrible to her own son, constantly weaponizes the death of her other son at him. You know, like, she has not been a mother to Wilhelm once. Actually, I think the one time she was a mother, vaguely, was right after the sex tape leaked and she came to the school and she, like, was vaguely affectionate for 2 minutes. Like, it's the closest she's ever come to being a mother. I've talked for so long, I'm so sorry. If anyone is listening this far, hi, I love you. I'm concerned that she's having obviously, I'm concerned that, like, she's having mental health problems. If she's having physical health problems, I am concerned that she could die and Wilhelm could be thrust into the spotlight as the king. I don't think that would be good for anybody. But maybe he would abolish the monarchy eventually, I don't know. But I am just worried about her suffering and the toll it will take on Wilhelm, because it is so hard to see your parent struggling, and especially when they are attributing some of that blame on you. I can't even imagine, like, feeling like he's made this worse. If he was normal or not causing a problem and was just being a good little soldier, would she not be ill? Would she be doing better? And things like that. I worry that things like that will go through his head, especially if things get tricky with Simon and he doesn't kind of, because at the moment, so basically the Queen, I mean, like, go see a therapist, woman. Hug your son. Tell him you love him. It's fine. Like, I worry about Wilhelm again because I did really get a sense in this episode, and obviously that bubble cubes being isn't like perfect, but because he and Simon are together and he can openly be with him, I feel like all of the problems he was dealing with in the previous, okay, 90% of the problems Wilhelm was dealing with in season 2 in particular that had me concerned he was on the brink of self-harm, most of those problems are still there. The only one that is different now is he is with Simon. Simon is not moving on with someone else. He loves him too. They are together. And I suppose that he is publicly out, but that has also brought with it, unfortunately, other problems, but I think it's still worthwhile. So, like, at the moment, he's kind of riding high because he's done it, he's come out, he's with Simon, and he gets to be with Simon, and no one's stopping him, and he can kiss him, and he can talk to him, and he can hold his hand, and everything's perfect. I'm really worried that at some point that's going to break, and all of the problems that are bubbling underneath are going to kind of, because he's kind of on that, I'm going to be crown prince, and I'm going to be with you, and everything's going to be fine. But the problems he was dealing with in the previous season are still there under the surface, and I am worried about him when they break through again. Though maybe he is just, hopefully he's still seeing the counsellor, maybe he is just genuinely in a place where he is so confident with who he is, he knows who he is and he's accepted it, and he's willing to stand up for the things that matter, and like, maybe he is just in a better place mentally, but I worry about my son, okay? What a brilliant first episode back. Thank you so much for watching.